All right, so big news today in the world of global economics, and we're going to break it down in this deep dive.
Yeah, big stuff.
So get ready because this one's juicy. We're diving into some new U.S. tariffs, specifically on things coming in from China.
Yep.
And we had some interest stuff come through from one of our listeners,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
A pasted text in Hindi,
Wow, okay.
laying it all out for us. The basics and what happened right after this all went down. So we're going to cut through all the noise and give you the need to know stuff.
Sound good.
What are these tariffs? How did people react? And what could this mean? Big picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe let's just start with like the basics here.
Sure.
What exactly is a U.S. tariff when we're talking about, this kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, think of it like it's basically just an extra tax.
Right.
The U.S. government taxes it on to products coming from another country.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's China. And this pasted text, it lays out a few reasons why they might do this.
Yeah, why would they?
The main one's pretty simple.
Okay.
Right. It's all about protecting U.S. industries.
Okay, yeah.
Trying to keep them competitive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those foreign goods are a lot cheaper.
Makes sense.
But then there's also like this element of using tariffs as a kind of bargaining chip, in trade deals or even in diplomatic spats.
Oh, okay.
A little pressure.
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, there's always the goal of shrinking the trade deficit.
And that is?
That's when a country like the U.S. buys way more from another country than it sells to them.
Oh, right.
So basically, those are the big reasons you usually hear.
That makes sense. But let's get into, like, the actual event here. What the pasted text is really talking about. What actually happened?
Right. So this is where things get interesting. According to the text, April 9th, 2025,
Okay.
the Trump government,
Okay.
that's what it calls it, they went ahead and they imposed a pretty hefty tariff on Chinese imports.
Hefty, like how hefty?
104%.
Whoa, 104%.
That's not just a little nudge.
No, not at all. That's a huge jump. So give us an example here. Like, what does that actually look like in real terms?
Okay, so the pasted text lays it out really clearly.
Okay.
Let's say you've got a product from China, costs $100.
Right.
This new tariff, boom, adds another $104 on top.
So you're paying, what, $204 now?
Exactly.
Wow. That's going to have some serious ripple effects. What did the pasted text say happened immediately after this?
So the text points to a pretty sharp downturn in the U.S. stock market.
Oh, wow.
It kind of suggests that it was driven by fear, basically, a full-blown global trade war.
Mm-hmm.
You slap on a huge tariff like that, well, people start to worry.
Yeah, for sure. Investors don't like uncertainty.
Exactly. And the text also talks about how investor sentiment just like tanked, basically.
Right. So not just the market dropping, but just like the mood.
Right. Yeah. A real lack of confidence. The text even mentions that people were pulling their money out.
Yeah, not a good sign.
But there's this interesting bit in the pasted text, though. Something that kind of bucks the trend.
Oh, yeah. What was that? The health insurance thing.
Yeah. Health insurance stocks, they stayed pretty steady, even while everything else was, nosediving.
Interesting.
The text links this to some good news about Medicare Advantage plans.
So even when the whole market's freaking out, some good news in one specific area can keep things afloat.
It seems that way, yeah. It's a good reminder that there are always other factors at play.
Totally. So for everyone listening, here's the bottom line. The U.S. just hit China with a massive tariff on imports, like really big.
Huge.
And the U.S. stock market had a less than enthusiastic response.
Yeah, not a fan.
Fear of a bigger trade war spooked a lot of investors, but hey, there are some bright spots, like in health insurance.
Yeah, you're right.
So here's the real question, the one we want you thinking about. What happens now?
Yeah, what happens next?
This tariff, it's meant to change how countries trade with each other, right? But how's it going to affect everything else?
The whole picture.
Exactly. Not just the U.S. and China, but, think globally.
Globally?
What about the prices of things you buy every day? How will this play out in the long run? That's what we want you pondering after this deep dive.
Ponder away, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.